All right. So third time's a charm. The plan for today is the last 4 part files, which are 17 through 20. They're pretty easy. They each only have 2 or 3 part features. I guess 18 is probably the hardest. It's has like 4 or 5 part features, but we'll just work through it. So in our green sheet numbers, let's make a new document. This one is going to be called part 17. And 11, and we'll go here, 9. There we go. All right, so let's start with, we'll do just basic subtractive method, where we start with a big chunk that is 4, 8 this way, 5 this way. So we'll make a rectangle that's 8 by 5 and then extrude it 6. Super easy. New sketch. We're sketching on the front. We can turn off the origin planes and make a rectangle. Look at it straight on. Rectangle. This is our front face, which is, like I said, 5 tall and 8 wide. Finish the sketch, look at it from a corner and extrude it. Choose what we want to extrude and extrude it 6. Okay, and we could turn off the visibility of the origin plane or origin point, because that's just going to get in the way. And so there's only 2 part features here. There is an arc extrusion this way, which in order to do this, we're just going to put a circle on top because that will give us a nice regular semicircle on the part. You know, half of the circle we draw is going to be outside of the shape. But we know that the center point for this arc, because these center marks travel out in the direction that they travel out and line up with the edge here, we know the center mark is actually on the edge of the part. We also know that it's halfway through because that center mark is 3. The center mark here is 3 from here and 3 from here. So that tells us the size is a radius of 2 or diameter of 4, and that it's centered and it's cut all the way through. So this is pretty easy. It's harder to explain than it is to do. We'll put a sketch on the top surface and we'll get a circle. We know we want it to snap it to the exact center point here. And we want it to end somewhere about there, but we're going to dimension it. Dimension it to 4. Excuse me, 5 to 4. And we'll finish the sketch and extrude and choose this. I mean, I guess you choose everything, doesn't matter. Switch it to remove and through all. Okay, and then the other part feature in the back there is just sort of a quarter of a circle. And if you extend this line out and this line out, you can see there actually is sort of a tiny center mark there. And that tells you it's a radius of 4 because it's 4 blocks back to the part. And that the center point is actually just our corner of everything. Okay, so we're going to put a sketch on the left side and make the circle like bigger than everything and cut extrude in. So let's put a sketch on the left face and we'll get a circle. Let's snap it to this top corner. We want the radius to be 4, so that means the diameter is going to be 8. Finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose this, remove, and I forgot to check how far remove. We remove 4 because we're already here on the left side. We want to move it in 4. So we want to switch this to a distance of 4. Check mark, and that's it for part 17. Close the document. Okay, new. Great. Document part 18. Part 18. Okay, so this one is, like I said, a little more complex than the other ones, or the other ones from today. We're going to do it the same way we did 15 and 16, where we start with sort of this lower bracket part and then build up. So this is going to be mostly additive. It is going to be subtractive for the portion where we round over the edge. And actually, we're going to do it slightly different. We're not going to use the fillet tool for the top portion. We'll just make a circle and extrude it. Okay, so starting with the base, let's just draw the footprint, which is sort of like this shape. And actually, I'm going to draw. Okay, so here is a thing to note. The fillet tool, we could do. Hold on, let's get the real dimensions real quick. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 8 this way, 5 this way, and 2. So I'm gonna make a block that's a 2 by 8 by 5. Sketching on the front, turning off our origins, rectangle, dimension 2. And just to be fast, I'm not switching it to straight on. And for basic things, it's really not super critical, but later on, it certainly is. Okay, so to get that rounded over, corners, you could do it a couple ways. We could make this block and then fillet these corners the amount that they're supposed to, which is just 1. This is a radius of 1. Okay. Which we would then type in 1. Okay, so that's doing it as a part feature. And I actually didn't even check if it does this. The other way to do it is before you even do an extrusion, you make it part of the sketch, meaning let's do a rectangle here. That's the footprint. So this would be like the part that's actually touching the ground. Sure, go for it. If he does work. Yeah. Okay, so the footprint was 5 by 8. Okay. And instead of extruding it 2, we should be able to use a fillet tool. Yeah, as a sketch tool. Okay, so we can round over these front corners with, I guess you drag it in there. I should be able to type in a number. 1. And same thing here, sketch. You click on one line, then the other line, and I guess drag it in. That's a really weird way of doing it. But you make it part of the sketch before you finish the sketch and extrude it its height. Okay, which that type of thing of putting more information in the sketch is good sometimes, depending on what's actually needed. Sometimes it's necessary because of the complexity of the part. But either way, whether you make the part and then fillet away the material, or you just put the fillet as one of the lines before you actually do the extrusion, either way is fine, as long as this is your first step. Okay, and this and that. Okay, So next portion, let's cut away this stuff here. We could either make a 1x4 rectangle and extrude down on the top, or do a 2x4 rectangle on the front and extrude in. I'm just going to sketch on the top. It just sort of makes more sense the way I think about things. But whatever comes up at the end is your choice. So I know this rectangle is a 1x4 and it snaps to the front edge. I want to make sure I don't snap it to any of these other hard snaps, just this edge. And we'll dimension it 4 wide and only 1 deep. And it's still blue, and that's because we haven't dimensioned where the rectangle is. And if you still have blue lines, it means you're missing some information. We need to make sure that the rectangle that we're drawing is, so this is the rectangle we are drawing. It needs to be 2 inches from the left of everything. Now, we have this weird arc here already, which we don't want to dimension to like this edge of the arc, even though we can do the math and it should be 1 from here. But I'd rather dimension to something that isn't weird or going to change, like the edge of everything, and that needs to be 2. So let's go ahead and dimension the distance from this blue line to this to here. And just remembering, I wish I had my other software. Give me a second. Let me start up the other thing without and there we go. Okay. So so now we have our rectangle in the right place. We'll finish sketch. Look at it from a corner, extrude, choose our rectangle, switch it to remove, and remove through all. Hit OK. Okay, so the next portion, we need to, well, we can do this all as one thing, except for the circle being next step. The way we did the other ones was to put like a sketch here, extrude up like a big sort of tower part, and then round off what we don't want. I'm actually going to put a sketch that is this shape and extrude it too, and then we'll just be done with it. Okay. And I'm actually going to put that sketch on the back so that it lines up with the back, and extrude it to forward. It doesn't really matter in that case. So we're going to put a sketch on the back here, and we can look at it straight on. And since it's the same all the way through, it doesn't matter really. So we just need to make this shape, which is going to be a combination of a rectangle that's the entire width and a height of 4, and then an arc which goes from the center point of that all the way across, which again, we're just going to use a circle because a circle will always be enclosed. An arc is easy to mess up. So we're going to make a rectangle that goes from here. And okay, so you see how like I don't get a snap to the right edge, and I want this rectangle to go all the way to the edge. And if I can get it to snap to the right edge, I won't need to dimension it because I know I want it to go all the way across. So right now, as I go by, it doesn't snap. Without clicking, if I mouse over this point and then go up, it will give me that snap, which will save you time. Okay, and I'm still going to need to dimension the height. And let's dimension this to 4. Okay, and just to recap, you can see where we're sketching what's happening. And that arc part, we could use an arc, a 3-point arc. which, yeah, why not use a 3-point arc? It should work. Okay, so 3-point arc is the default type of arc. And we've only been using the default type of everything, where you can see, so this is rectangle. If you click on the drop down next to it, you can see the first type of rectangle is corner rectangle, which is what you would get if you clicked on rectangle. Okay, same thing with different circles, tangent circle, and 3-point arc and whatever. Okay, so 3-point arc, you can see where the clicks are, and that's the same for all of these. The little circle, so in this, well, we'll just do rectangle. The rectangle has a little circle here and a little circle here. It tells you where you need to click. Okay, 3-point arc means you need to click in the 3 places. It's actually going to be one corner, the other corner, and then how arcy it is. Center point arc shows you the 3 clicks are where it's centered and the other 2. So we might as well get used to using the arc now. So we'll just go 3-point arc. And first click is going to be snap to one of these corners. And second click will snap to the other corner. And then third click is the arciness. Now, the problem is, and here's an issue with arc, I want it to be like this. And I'm going to need to put a dimension in. The problem is if I go past halfway and try to put the dimension in there, which I know I want to be 4, shoot, didn't work. Have trouble breaking things when I want them to break. Let's do what is the scenario in where it breaks when I don't want it to break? Okay, well, there's a different scenario where an arc can mess up, and I can't remember how to mess it up. I guess that's a good thing. I don't know. All right, so from scratch, 3-point arc. First point is one end of the arc, second point is the other end of the arc, and third click is where I want the arc to be. And because I want it to be like that perfect semicircle arc, I get a snap where when that blue dot that's in the middle of the rectangle, which I can't mouse over right now because it's being controlled by my mouse, but that blue dot right there, if I get it to land exactly on the edge there, which I do get a snap, I won't need to dimension it, but it's still a good idea to get in the habit of dimensioning. And I want this to have a radius of 4. And you'll notice that it says R4, where if we had a circle and dimension it, okay, it's diameter 4. That symbol means diameter. And it's just because arcs are dimensioned by their radius and circles are dimensioned by their diameter. And it doesn't matter because it's just a 2-to-1 situation. And can we delete? Extrude, construct, select, delete sketch entity. There we go. Okay, and we'll finish sketch, and you can see what we have here. And let's extrude it. Choose both of our portions. And it's guessing which way to extrude just based on which way is positive on those origin planes. But clearly we don't want it to go that way. We want it to go the other direction. So we're going to switch that way, making sure it still says new. And the distance we want to extrude is 2. Okay. And we could have put a circle in the previous, before we, oh, please work. Yeah. We could have put the circle here and only extruded everything but the circle and we'd be done, but it's actually easier to do it in another sketch. So we'll make a new sketch on this face. We want to use, no, that's sketch fillet. We want to use this edge so that we get the snap to the center point. And from that center point, we're going to make a circle that is a diameter of 4. And it shares the same center point because you can see those center marks going out. And let's go like this and dimension it to, come on, dimension it to diameter 4. Finish sketch, extrude, choose our circle, switch it to remove, and remove through all. Okay, and that is part 18. And so let's go ahead, new document, part 19. And part 19, medium difficult. We're gonna do the same thing where we start with a big chunk. That is the total height, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jeez, did I lose it already? What's wrong with my brain? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's no way that is 7 tall. Okay, fine. It's 7 tall, 4 front to back, and its width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 9 by 7 extruded 4. We're just going to go with that. So it's sketch on the front. Turn off our origins. Rectangle, snap it to 0, 0 just because. Dimension tool, dimension it to 9 this way. And 7 this way. Finish the sketch. Look at it from a corner. And extrude it. Choose our rectangle and extrude it 4. Okay, so, and then we can turn off our origin point. So, a couple different situations going on here. We have sort of this sloped face, which we can just draw on the front here, something like this, and cut extruded back too. And the other thing is a circular extrusion with the center point that cuts all the way back. I'm going to do the circle first because I want to be able to dimension the center point, which is a certain amount, I guess 4 from each side, without having to worry about, I'm going to get, when I do this sloped edge, I'm going to get a line. When I do the sloped face, I'm going to get a line here, and I don't think this center point snaps to the line. And if that line exists, it may snap to it and ruin everything. So we're going to put the sketch on the front here. And I need a circle that is diameter 4. And it's somewhere in here. Let's just go ahead and make a 4-inch circle here. But you can see it's not black yet. It's still blue. And that's because we need to dimension where it is. For anything, any circle, you need size and location. We have the size. Its location is dimension the center point to the bottom of everything. And which is, there's no way it's 4. What is it? It is 4. Okay, so it's 4 this way. And I guess it's 4 this way. For some reason that doesn't look right. 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, we'll find out. We can always change it. That's how this works. So let's extrude, choose our circle. Did I not finish that? Okay, finish the sketch. Extrude, choose a circle, switch it to remove, and remove through all. Okay, and then in order to do this cut, we are going to put a sketch on the front, on our front face, and just draw a line from this top edge to this bottom edge. And as long as we snap to the edge, we'll be good. We just need to dimension the distance from the side of everything and the distance from the side of everything down here. And this point, the distance from this point to the side of everything is 3. And the distance from this point to the side of everything is 2. So let's start a sketch on our front face. Look at it straight on. Zoom out. We need a line. Make sure it snaps to this edge, but not the corner and not the center point. just somewhere on the edge, first click. And then somewhere on the bottom edge, again, not the corner of the center point, second click. And you can hit escape to get rid of the line tool. And hold on a second. Dimension the distance from this point to the side, which when you're dimensioning to a point, you have to make sure that you dimension tool first click is on that point. Second click can either be on the corner point there or the side. It still works out as the dimension. This one was 3. And we have to do the same thing down here. The line is still blue because we're missing the dimension over here. Distance from there to there just needs to be 2. And we can finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, and we want to extrude this portion here. We want to remove it, and we want to remove it halfway. Okay, and I think that's right. It looks a little narrow for some reason. Is it the wrong? I think I may have put the wrong number in. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4 to there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I put in 9? Okay, so you can always go back and change. I did, but if I did put in the wrong one, I can change it here. And even though this first sketch was my first step, I should still be able to adjust it and make it the correct length. I think it might just be like perspective. Yeah, there we go. That's why. Isometric versus perspective. So let's change it back to that. And there we go. All right, so that's why it looks a little bit off. Okay, and our last one is a lot like the first one we did today, 17. Make a new document. Yay, part 20, bittersweet. Okay, and for 20, what we're gonna do is a big chunk that is 4, 5, 6 tall, 2, 6, 8 wide, and 5 deep. So 6 by 8 by 5. And so let's start a sketch on the front. We can turn off these origin planes. I want to keep this point for now. Make our rectangle. That was 8 wide and 6 tall. Finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose our rectangle, and extrude it 5. And we can turn off our origin point, which is that right there. Okay, so only 2 part features here. We can kind of do them in any order. One of them is a quarter round circular curved extrusion. Okay, where we just do an arc here, and which will be like right here, and then cut extrude over. And the other portion is a rectangle that is 3 by 4, 3 tall, 4 wide, and 2 from the side of everything, and cut extrude all the way through. Because of the weird way that this rectangle cut extrusion interacts with this curved face, you can see there's like a weird half amount. I'm going to do the rectangle first, because if we do the curve first, that means you can't put the sketch plane on a curved surface. We would need to put it on the back or the top. So, you know what? Actually, I'm going to do the rectangle second, but I'm going to just do the sketch from the back because that's the only place you can do the rectangle, do the new sketch. And I just want to show you a different way of solving things. So let's do our arc from the side. So let's start a sketch on the side here. And we'll just do arc again. It doesn't really matter. So we'll do a 3-point arc. And we want the first click of this arc to be somewhere on the top here, not the center point of the corner. And second click to be somewhere on the bottom here, not the center point or the corner right there. And the thing about the arc is you need to make it look close to correct. This is one way you can mess it up. If you don't make it look, if you don't make it go the correct direction, like let's say you have it go this way and you put the dimension in, the correct dimension is 4, but you put 4 in, that's not going to be the shape we want. We want it to go the other way. So let's make it go the other way. Well, let me move it. No, let's just get rid of it. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why we avoid arcs compared to circles, because they're easier to mess up, but we'll deal with it. Oh, here's the problem though. Even if we put a dimension of 4 in, which is what we want, it's not going to be in the right place, because this is supposed to be 4 from the side and this is supposed to be 4 from the corner, 4 from the corner. Even though this arc has the right radius, it's not the right shape. This point needs to be lined up with that. So what we can do is a center point arc. Think about what you actually know. We don't know, well, we do kind of know where those corners are, and we could dimension it, but it's easier to use the center point arc because we know this arc needs to be centered here. So this is our first click. Our second click is going to be on this edge somewhere. And our third click is going to be on this edge somewhere. And then we should just be able to dimension this to what we want, and it will keep everything there. And you can kind of see how it, in this weird case, it's easier to just do the circle, because the circle pretty much works as a center point arc, because it's a center point of circle. You just have part of it going off of the part. Okay, so we have that line there. Let's finish the sketch. Extrude, choose our segment, switch it to remove, and remove all. Okay, and the only other part feature is the sort of rectangular cutout, but you can't put a sketch on a curved surface. So that means we either need to put a sketch on the top and make our rectangle just sort of like, who knows how far to the front, or the right way to do it would be just put the sketch on the back. And we're going to make that same shape, this rectangle that's 3 tall and 4 wide on the back here, and cut extrude it forward through all. And even though it's an extrusion of like 2 or whatever to get to this front edge, it doesn't matter. We're just going to cut extrude everything in the path. So the sketch is 3 tall, 4 wide, and 2 from the edge. And so I made my sketch. Let's look at it straight on. I need a rectangle, snap it somewhere to the top edge, but not the corner or the center. And let's dimension this. We know we want it to be 4 wide and 3 tall. And again, we have the size of the rectangle, but we haven't defined the location. And up until now, the way we've been defining most of the locations of our sketch features is by snapping on corners or points or things like that. But because we didn't snap, because the rectangle we need to make doesn't connect to sort of known lines, like several times before, we still need to locate this rectangle, which the distance from the side of this rectangle to the side of what we already have is 2. Okay, we'll finish the sketch and do an extrusion, choose our rectangle, switch it to remove, and instead of removing a distance, and dragging and defining by dragging is kind of lame, we'll remove and just do through all and hit okay. And there you go. There's part 20. That is the end of the green sheet. Yeah, good times.